Welcome back. Here's something to talk about. A case of vision and values, or just a mom getting upset over nothing. You be the judge. I feel very Olympic.
Time to go under the razor. Too much?
You know, we only came 7 degrees short of reaching the hottest April day ever, 89 degrees back in 1926. This is from my producer, who never is off the clock, even though she's actually off the clock. Unanimous decision. EWEB has picked the UO Foundation for their riverfront property.
Behind me, you might notice blue tarps, dozens of tents. This, if you're not familiar, is Whoville Camp number 9. Now, the fact that they're here is not the news tonight. They've been here for quite some time. They've been bouncing around from one side to the next for the last few months.
Amanda just uses the spray. She doesn't mess with
Actually,
the scraper.
I ran out. I ran out. Yeah, horrible timing, but I don't have it anymore.
We're gonna have to get you a scraper, or you can borrow Jeff's.
Yeah.
You got the de-icer. I just got the old-fashioned scraper. I got to upgrade.
Well, thank you, Jeff. It's not quite Snowmageddon, the sequel, but it definitely is treacherous. Police are now identifying the shooter as freshman Jalen Freiberg. We're going to go straight to that breaking news, the press conference in Marysville, Washington. The police giving us a timeline. 10:39 is when they first received a call. By 11 o'clock, full SWAT. That student shooter had been taken down at that point. 4 injured. No, we don't have a Speedo dash around here, but we do have a polar plunge. And you guys are invited, Jeff, Amanda.
Well, thanks. Are you going to jump in?
You don't have to wear a Speedo either. You can just wear whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's going to be just as cold,
I'd
though.
probably just wear my Michelin Man style jacket and jump in with that.
That's not going to save you from the cold. It's going to get through the fibers,
Yeah, well,
freeze you.
It's a very electric night here at the Eugene Airport. U.S. troops coming home from Afghanistan. I am joined with Joey Vaughn and his beautiful wife. How does it feel to be home?
Well, there you go. Half the bike, twice the price, and 3 times the butt workout.
It actually looks like fun.
Now, we were going to take you inside the park, show you some of the fun going on, but our live truck actually was delayed. There's no trespassing sign right here. Marks the very spot where Ali Valkyrie was charged with criminal trespassing. The game doesn't start for another hour, but fans, they're already here ramping up. I think you're right, Seth. I'm out here at the Lane County Fair, and yes, it cooled down all of a sudden. About an hour ago, a nice cool breeze came through. We're not talking Measure 91 or recreational pot here. These are medical marijuana plants. Mozan told me that Ellingson had modified his paintball gun for higher power. This is the front porch where he was firing at officers, and a neighbor told me this is the spot where they took him down. Right across from the mill and sandwiched in between the town store and a giant fuel container sits the little old no-tie post office. And until recently, it's been able to fly under the radar, avoiding the first round of cuts by the U.S. Postal Service. But all that is changing.
Screaming, shouting as protesters in Portland come face to face with officers all tonight, all in the wake of a grand jury decision in Ferguson. At one point tonight, a group of protesters splintered off from the main group. That crowd shut down traffic on the Burnside Bridge, and a little later on, protesters climbed onto Interstate 5. The Keystone XL pipeline is one step closer to becoming a reality tonight. The project has been stalled in a politically gridlocked Congress, but now both parties are racing to pass bills and claim credit. We are learning new information tonight on the alleged murder-for-hire plot in Eugene. EPD tells us the suspect hired someone to kill his neighbor using a car. Thanks for being with us tonight at 6:30. I'm Ty Steele. Neighbors we spoke with today say Jeffrey Leonard was a menace from the get-go when he moved into the neighborhood, and they're just happy he's behind bars tonight. On to a News Source 16 alert for those living in West Eugene. A rash of scary attacks is targeting pedestrians and cyclists. 3 reported cases of people being hit by darts. News Source 16's Kat Walcott is live in the newsroom tracking this for us. And Kat, police say these attacks haven't done so yet, but could cause some serious harm.
Mr. Ellingson could certainly have caused himself to be shot by police officers.
It was Sunday night when police say 49-year-old Mitchell Levi Ellingson opened fire on officers with a paintball gun. During a 30-minute standoff, officers say he got off 50 rounds before he was taken down with beanbags and sponge rounds.
Wouldn't they have been justified in shooting this man?
Again, it depends on what the officer perceives at the time, and without being right there in that circumstance, I can't.
Lieutenant Doug Mozan says his officers tried to talk Ellingson down outside his home on the 800 block of West 4th Street.
Mr. Ellingson was having none of that. He was instead choosing to fire rounds from this paint gun, this very dangerous paint gun, at the police officers.
Mozan told me that Ellingson had modified his paintball gun for higher power. This is the front porch where he was firing at officers, and a neighbor told me this is the spot where they took him down.
He was getting arrested and had him down.
Right next door, neighbor Jared Allison says after knowing Ellingson for some time, he's surprised by his behavior.
Super nice guy. Getting rid of his barbecue, gave me a barbecue. I mean, helps everybody out around here. People have problems, helps people with their cars.
Police say neighbors told them Ellingson made statements about suicide by cop.
I hope everything turns out okay for him.
But Mozan says through tactical decision-making, everyone went home safe.
He's alive, they're safe, everybody goes home.
Where'd you get the water?
Where'd I get the water?
Yeah. As I was turning in my cans, I caught two guys dumping out cases and cases of water. Is that perfectly good water you're dumping out?
It's perfectly good water.
Why are you dumping it out?
Well, the card broke down.
The first story. Did they give you the water? Did somebody give you the water?
No, we bought it off a card from the store.
The motive.
Well, you can always turn it into food stamp.
And eventually the real story, using food stamps to buy water, just to dump out each bottle for a nickel.
Complete waste, all in all. I mean, it's a bummer that they're using the process to do that. You know, they're taking money that we're all providing for them to throw things away that people are desperate for and then make 60 cents off of it. I mean, it really is kind of pathetic.
So after shooting the video on my phone, I wanted to find out if this kind of activity was fraud. So I took my smartphone to the people that hand out the Oregon Trail cards. At the Department of Human Services in Eugene, I showed Program Manager Richard Whitworth the video. It's common enough. They even have a name for it.
It's called water dumping.
Is water dumping fraud?
Well, it's not fraud today.
But it will be when the feds pass a new rule that was proposed back in June.
Is going to expand that to specifically, address the water dumping issue so that, that will become part of the official trafficking definition, and then we can enforce that. We can use that for fraud investigations.
But DHS admits, even if these guys had given me their real names and addresses, a fraud investigation is unlikely at best.
For cigarettes or things they definitely don't need, they can find other ways to get money for.
A mother was given the chance to tell the man convicted of spying on her little girl a piece of her mind. Here's what she had to say.
Please rise.
Not a soul came out to support Dana Bishop as his sentence was handed down on Wednesday.
Credit for time served.
But the Springfield courtroom was full of family and friends who came out to support the victim's family.
We're here today because you took the time to purchase 2 pinhole cameras, carefully aiming them at nothing else but our 10-year-old daughter's window.
That 10-year-old girl's mother is Crystal Stutzman, and she's been patiently waiting for almost 9 months to tell Bishop what his crime has done to their family.
The punishment you are receiving for this crime doesn't begin to touch the surface of what we endured this year.
Back in March, while Bishop was still living right next door to the Stutzmans, he confessed to Crystal and police that he was in fact spying on their young daughter. After credit for time served, Bishop will spend 10 days in jail and will be a free man once again with a misdemeanor on his record. While Crystal may have been able to give Dana Bishop a piece of her mind in the courtroom, that's not enough for her. She wants to take what her family went through to change invasion of privacy laws here in Oregon.
It could maybe be an argument if someone walked by your window and accidentally looked in, but it's certainly not an excuse. Not having curtains is not an excuse to set up 2 cameras that view right into someone's room. And unfortunately, the way the law is, somebody can do that.
Horrified by Bishop's initial releasal, Crystal started a campaign, first on Facebook, to make video voyeurism involving minors a felony in Oregon.
Good job.
And her efforts caught the attention of an old high school classmate, now a Cresswell City Councilman and local attorney, Jacob Daniels.
I think it's a great miscarriage of justice, to be quite honest, and I know that
Daniels drafted the first pages of a bill proposal. He says the case against Bishop is all too common.
we're bound by what the legislature has put forth, and so they didn't really have much wiggle room. But I think that Mr. Bishop should have received a much more substantial punishment.
As for Crystal and her daughter, they're moving forward, but they do have a fear for those who may come in contact with Bishop after he gets out.
I just hope that the community he's moving to doesn't have children living nearby. I don't think he learned anything from this. I don't think he sees anything wrong with what he did. The new community has no idea who's moving into their neighborhood.
In Springfield, Ty Steele, News Source 16. It's something we're all used to here in Eugene and Springfield. People standing on the side of the road asking for something.
The end justifies the means.
But this group near the Gateway Mall doesn't want your change. They're panhandling for something else.
Help Roxanne get a kidney.
A living donor for their friend Roxanne Loomis, a single mother and ER nurse at Riverbend.
I'd be jumping up and down. I would be so happy. I mean, they would be my friend for life. So.
For the last 10 years, her kidneys have been slowly failing.
Doctors think because of a genetic defect called thin basement membrane disease, a condition that likely affected her 2 siblings as well. Her brother John is still recuperating after his kidneys failed. A coworker stepped up to donate the organ that saved his life.
She is fairly close to having to get on dialysis, and of course we're worried about that because that may interfere with her ability to work. And of course she needs to work. She has 2 children and she's a single mom.
Roxanne's sister has since passed away from complications associated with kidney failure, and her 2 children are not allowed to donate their kidneys because of the hereditary nature of the disease killing their mother. 5 of Roxanne's friends and coworkers have stepped up to donate, but have all been told they're ineligible because of a wrong blood type or a medical condition. And while Roxanne is on the national waiting donor list, doctors say there's no guarantee she'll get what she needs to survive.
I've never panhandled before. This is a new experience. But you do what you got to do.